Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This video is sponsored by Sony and I will be testing out a number of their lenses to see how the focal length affects the final image. In today's video, I am going to be using my Sony Alpha 7R4 as well as three lenses: Sony 12-24 2.8 G Master, Sony 24-105 f4G, and the Sony 70-200 2.8 G Master. Whenever I decide on my lenses that I'm going to use for my photo shoots, I always have to keep a few things in mind. How much distortion do I want to have? Do I want drama in my images, or am I trying to keep it a bit softer and more romantic? That kind of decides on which lenses I go for. In my first test, I wanted to demonstrate how important it is to choose the right focal length for your image. I am going to be taking 3 photos for each focal length: a close-up portrait, half body, and a full body. And you'll get to see how much it affects the final look. Okay, so we're gonna get started. I'm going to take photos with all the lenses with different focal lengths. I'll be starting with the 12-24 G Master. And we're going to see how it looks. I'm going to take a crop, kind of relatively close up, and then half body and then full body. Obviously I'll be in different placements throughout the video because each lens I have to be further or closer up, but I'll just try and keep the framing the same basically. So. For this next part of the video, I wanted to test out 2 lenses side by side, the Sony 70-200 and the Sony 12-24. I wanted to see how different focal lengths affect how blurry the background is. So for this test, I grabbed the 70-200 and I put it on f6.3 and f8. And on the other side, I took the Sony 12-24 and I put it on f2.8. We're just gonna take half bodies just to be kind of generic, and then I'm gonna go to maybe even f8. So you can see straight away here, even when I'm shooting on 24, how much less background separation there is and how much everything is in focus. So a lot of the time when I shoot with wider focal lengths like 24 or 12, you have to be very, very careful about the distortion you get in the photos. So for example, in this shot, I will shoot mostly lower down because I want to elongate my model's legs as much as possible while keeping her upper body relatively undistorted, and that's the best way to go about it. If you're shooting higher up on 24 or especially on 12, you will have a bad time. So you have to keep it relatively low to the ground. We're gonna go high up and eye level and lower. Even though the Sony 12-24 f2.8 might not be my everyday lens choice, I will say I do really enjoy how the images look and how much distortion I can get with it. I have to say I was pleasantly surprised, as it was my first time testing out the Sony 24-105 f4. I have to say it's such a versatile lens when it comes to taking photos. You have the option of the 24, which gives you really nice distortion for more of a high fashion look, and then you have the option to go a bit closer for either portraits or even beauty images, and I think it looks absolutely amazing. The weight of the lens is really light, which I adore. And even though it is f4, I still found the bokeh really, really beautiful throughout. The blur was absolutely amazing in the background, while the lens stayed tack sharp throughout. So I definitely recommend it. Also, the 24-105 is a really good example of showing how much the focal length affects how blurry your background is. This is a f4 lens, and as you can see, if I'm shooting on 24, there's relatively very little background separation from my model. But when I go to 50 or 70 or 105, you get quite a lot of separation straight away. So a lot of the time when I'm shooting with all these 3 lenses, I will use them in different light scenarios. So for example, here I'm shooting in direct sunlight and I don't mind it, but it's not my favorite. I feel like when I'm shooting with a lot of background separation, I like to shoot indirect sunlight, which we are going to do as well. But if I'm shooting with 24, for example, or especially like, you know, 24, 12, I always want to have really strong punchy light because it just adds to the mood of the image and it adds the drama. So that's something to keep in mind as well, that you know, each lens has a different vibe to it, and that's okay. Finally, the Sony 70-200 G Master is such an amazing lens. I know this is not the newest version of it, but it still performs so well. The focus is super sharp, and if you guys have seen, I have tested them side by side recently, and both of them performed amazing. This lens has an impressive amount of background compression, and it gives me really great separation between my model and the background. I use this lens a lot whenever I want to capture details, like for example jewelry, but also whenever I want to have a more realistic look to my photos, because there isn't going to be as much body distortion. Okay guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being my beautiful model. I hope you guys enjoyed the lens comparison and how different focal lengths affect the final look of the image. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.